So the OHL trade deadline has come and gone, and now we can focus on the postseason race. Of course, right now the Barrie Colts in the thick of it, 3 points back of the Peterborough Petes for that final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, and it all gets underway tonight after last night's game was postponed in Erie due to unsafe ice conditions. So the Barrie Colts getting back in action after the trade deadline tonight in St. Catharines. They're getting ready to take on the Niagara Ice Dogs. And just a note, 3 out of the 4 new players were on the ice today for practice. Kyle Morey and Blair Scott, who were picked up in the trade from Kitchener, and Thomas Stewart, all ready to make their Barrie Colts debut. However, Brendan Sarazotti still not with the team. It sounds like he's still trying to decide whether or not to report with the Barrie Colts after being traded from Sault Ste. Marie. He was involved in the Jacob Frasca trade prior to the OHL trade deadline. So Sarazotti having some decisions to make, and we should find out soon, I would think, if Sarazotti will be joining the Barrie Colts, because they're now down to 2 overagers if he does not report. That just leaves Thomas Stewart, who they picked up from Oshawa, and then, of course, Ben West between the pipes. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. And also sounds like Anson Thornton will not be reporting to the Niagara Ice Dogs. He was traded there just prior to the overager trade deadline. Of course, the Barrie Colts had a decision to make. They had Anson Thornton and Ben West as overager goaltenders, and the Colts were able to move Thornton to Niagara for a conditional draft pick, but it does sound like Anson Thornton will not be reporting to Niagara. We'll just have to wait for confirmation on that, as he's also not 100% is my understanding. Still rehabbing an injury, but that's how it happens in the Ontario Hockey League. You have the trades coming up to the trade deadline, and then players have to decide whether or not they're going to report, especially when it's their overage season. It's got to be hard. I understand for Sarazotti, the Sioux Greyhounds looking to compete for that Western Conference title, and now being traded to Barrie, which is now fighting for their playoff lives. There's still a chance the Colts will make the playoffs, as the Peterborough Petes sold off quite a bit, but still some decisions that had to be made. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. So the Barrie Colts, they're in Niagara tonight. That's a 7 o'clock puck drop. And the Colts, they'll be back on home ice Saturday at the Sadlin Arena, 7:30 start against the Brantford Bulldogs. And it'll be our first look at the new look Barrie Colts. Now, the reason for this video is because the London Knights, they are on a roll. They're now the second team this season to reach a 10-game winning streak. And I thought, 10 games, that's pretty significant. So I thought I'd do a rundown as to how the team has got here, as they're just rolling along. And what's really impressive is that they were missing some key players from their lineup, players that were at the World Junior Championships, like Easton Cowan and Oliver Bonk, who were playing with Team Canada. And then you had Kasper Halttunen, who was playing with Team Finland at the World Juniors. So they were getting these wins without those guys in the lineup. Plus, they had some suspensions going on. I think there was at 1.3 players were suspended and missing some time during this winning streak. But the London Knights finding a way to get things done. This winning streak, it started December 14th with a 6-2 win over the Windsor Spitfires, and they've just been chugging along ever since. They had wins over Owen Sound, Sudbury, 2 against Sarnia, Flint, Erie, Barrie, Mississauga, and then last night, a big win over the Sarnia Sting, and that puts them at 10 games. And only one of those wins was in overtime, and that was against the Sudbury Wolves. So the London Knights getting those wins done in regulation. And, some of the standouts from this run, like just look at the points. Ruslan Gazizov leads the way over the last 10 games, 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points. Now, Gazizov took a shot to the midsection in the game against the Barrie Colts, and he has not returned to action since. That happened in the first period of that game against the Barrie Colts. So Gazizov hurt. We'll have to wait and see what the timeline is for him. But then you have Jacob Julian. He's exploded. 8 goals, 10 assists, 18 points. Sam Dickinson, he has 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points over this 10-game winning streak. Denver Barkey, he hasn't been there for the entire 10-game winning streak, but he has 4 goals, 10 assists, good for 14 points over the stretch. Max McHugh, 9 goals, 4 assists, 13 points. Sam O'Reilly, he's been fun to follow. 6 goals, 7 assists over the 10 games, 13 points. And then Landon Sim, 4 goals, 7 assists, good for 11 points. So those players have been there for the bulk of the run. Also, I wanted to know Evan Van Gorp, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points over those 10 games. But he's been putting up the points in the last few games. Those 3 goals One of them coming against the Barrie Colts, and then the other one's against the Sarnia Sting. So Van Gorp also has found out that he's going to be sticking around with the team, which is great news for the young forward. And really, they're getting contributions from everyone in the lineup with the London Knights. That's how this winning streak has really got going. And for the two players that joined the team late, Oliver Bonk in 3 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, good for 8 points. And then Easton Cowan, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points in 3 games. That's since those two came back from the World Juniors, and they're still getting the points. So this is a really good London Knights team. And, the wins, they're piling up despite London being the second most penalized team in the OHL. Right now they have 609 penalty minutes. That's only behind Mississauga, who have 618. And then the penalties don't seem to phase them because they can kill off those penalties. They right now have the second best penalty kill percentage in the OHL at 83%, which is only behind Saginaw, who have a penalty kill success rate of 86.2%. So this London Knights team, they've got the offense clicking. They play that physical style. They kind of, they toe the line there, and they got the physical play, but they can back it up with the defense. And Denver Barkey, a huge factor in that. He leads the OHL in shorthanded goals with 6. So we even saw that in the game when the Barrie Colts were in London. Barkey was kept off the score sheet, but he was still able to generate the turnovers and get breakaway chances, even shorthanded. So this is a London Knights team that's it's lethal right now. So you're probably wondering, okay, so how long will this winning streak last? Well, their next 4 games are pretty big, and they're all against tough Western Conference opponents. First, they play host to the Saginaw Spirit tomorrow night. That's at Budweiser Gardens. The Saginaw Spirit, of course, going all in at the OHL trade deadline. We saw them put up 11 goals against the Windsor Spitfires last night, so it's going to be a clash of the Titans tomorrow in London. And then they host Owen Sound on Sunday before playing a home-and-home with the Kitchener Rangers next week. And with that, first place could be on the line in the entire OHL between London and Kitchener, because right now only 1 point separates those two teams in the Midwest Division. Because of this 10-game winning streak, London has clawed their way to the top of the Western Conference standings. They're now number 2. They've got more points than Sault Ste. Marie, but because the Greyhounds are leading the West Division, that's why they're put at number 2. But still, this is a very impressive London Knights team going forward. I know there's a lot of questions as to why they didn't maybe pick up a few more players at the trade deadline. Their only acquisition was Caleb Lawrence from the Ottawa 67s, but that was to fill Ethan McKinnon's spot because McKinnon has stepped aside due to concussion issues, and they wanted to have that third overager. And Caleb Lawrence, a big body, he can play that physical game. So that's kind of the MO this year for London. They want to play that physical style. They want to be in your face. They want to put pressure to create the turnovers. And if they can continue this, the London Knights will be a threat in that Western Conference. So despite Saginaw, Sault Ste. Marie, and Kitchener really loading up at the deadline, this London Knights team could still be a threat. So we'll see how long this winning streak lasts. Can they extend it past tomorrow night against the Saginaw Spirit? Time will tell. Should be a great game. That one might be worth tuning into if you have an opportunity. So that's what's going on with the Barrie Colts, and just wanted to talk about the London Knights because that winning streak is impressive. Let me know down in the comments section below your thoughts on the Barrie Colts trade deadline acquisitions and your thoughts maybe on the London Knights and their play. How long do you think they were going to continue this winning streak? Love to see the interaction, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.